I'm seeing teenagers arrive in helicopters, bringing a 3-month-old baby to prom, having a literal fish tank in a dress, dudes dressing like Frozone, and even spending up to $70,000 on prom. To be clear, this isn't about judging what anyone spends. If you had a means to fund a massive celebration for one night of memories, that's your business. What's impossible to ignore though is the hypocrisy. We see these incredible over-the-top displays from black students, custom designed themes, professional photographs, and the comment sections are filled with miserable people saying they're gonna tell FAFSA, calling it tacky, or calling it a ghetto prom. Well, if you want to call it a ghetto prom, you have to acknowledge that this white girl jumping out the casket is probably one of the most ghettoest ish in history. While it was shocking, the criticism wasn't the same. It was framed with the same racial and classist undertones. It was just a weird, edgy choice. It's the same level of spectacle, but the reaction is miles apart. Prom kicked off in the post-war boom, a time when teenagers for the first time became a real consumer market. Businesses were ready to cash in. The 50s is when prom went from a simple school dance to a commercialized event. It moved out of the gym and into fancy hotels and country clubs. The whole idea of a prom theme was born, adding a layer of fantasy and escapism. Historically, prom grew out of 19th century balls, exclusive events for the upper class to introduce their daughters to eligible bachelors. The high school prom of the 1950s was a more accessible version of that. It became a high-stakes ritual for white, middle-class teenagers, especially girls who were encouraged to find a future husband. An advice book from that era warned that girls who asked boys out themselves would ruin a good dating career. And from the very beginning, it was racially segregated. When schools began to integrate after Brown versus Board of Education, many white communities chose to cancel public proms altogether rather than hold an integrated one. This isn't forgotten history, it's the DNA of the event. Prom was created as a space to reinforce social, racial, and class lines. The idea of a simple, innocent past is largely a myth. The extravagance, the pressure, and the exclusion were all there from the start. And with social media, it's no longer just about the dance. It's about creating content. The dress reveal, the pre-prom shoot, the grand entrance, and the post-prom photo dump. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok have created a prom industrial complex. And for Gen Z, it's not real if it's not online. A TikTok of a prom look can go viral overnight, and the pressure to stand out is immense. This isn't just keeping up with the Joneses anymore. It's keeping up with the entire internet. The digital pressure directly fuels the spending. Students feel they have to rent luxury cars and plan wild interests to create that perfect post. And businesses are happy to cater to this, offering everything from videographers to red carpet backdrops. The average family is now spending around $1,000 on the night, with the outfit alone taking up a huge chunk of that. And that's just the average. We've seen reports of budgets hitting tens of thousands of dollars for one night. When black students participate in this culture of extravagance, a culture by the way started and normalized by white consumerism in the 50s, they are often met with a level of scrutiny that is rarely applied to anyone else. Suddenly everyone becomes a financial advisor, leaving comments about loans, priorities, and tackiness. Yet a Jewish bar or a bar mitzvah can cost anywhere from $30,000 to over $100,000. A Hispanic quinceañera often runs between $5,000 and $20,000 or more. These events are rightfully seen as important cultural milestones. No one is in the comments of a quinceañera vlog telling a family they should have saved for college instead. So why the selective outrage when it's black prom? For many in the black community, prom has evolved into its own significant cultural rite of passage. In a society that doesn't have many universal coming-of-age rituals for black youth, prom has filled that void. Families in states like Florida spend months planning send-offs that look like movie premieres, with the whole community coming out to celebrate their kids. It's an act of joyful resistance and community investment, a way of declaring that black youth are worthy of celebration in a world that often tries to make them feel invisible. The extravagance isn't about being ghetto, it's about taking a tradition they were once borrowed from and making it extraordinarily their own. It's about individual expression, creativity, and celebration. So when people criticize it, they are not just commenting on a party, they are tapping into a long, ugly history of policing black joy and black expression. But for all its cultural significance, we can't ignore the dark side. This intense pressure to perform and spin creates casualties. While the spectacle can be inspiring for some, it's deeply alienating for others. You see comments from students who skipped their prom entirely because they couldn't handle the pressure. Their friends were spending thousands and the feeling of inadequacy was just too much. The constant stream of picture-perfect prom content online sets an impossible standard. It creates a hierarchy where a student's worth can feel tied to how much they can afford to spend. This financial strain is real. Parents are going into debt and teens are crowdfunding all for a single night. When a dress alone can cost up to $800 and the average total spending is even higher, you automatically exclude a huge number of students. The rising costs for tickets, transportation, and outfits make it harder for families to keep up. Prom has shapeshifted from a simple dance in a gym to a complex multi-billion-dollar cultural phenomenon. It's a canvas for incredible artistic expression and communal joy, especially within the black community, which has reclaimed it as a powerful rite of passage. But it's also a breeding ground for social media-fueled anxiety, classism, and exclusion.